Oh, hello, everyone. Did you have a good night last night? Are we all awake? I'm Maddie Kramer. I'm going to be your MC, and I'm going to be the host for today. We're super excited of the agenda of this year. We'll be deep diving into some of big themes such as sustainability, talent, D&I, business transformation, creative effectiveness, data tech, and innovation, and much more. Before we get started, we're going to go do some housekeeping. I imagine you're familiar with it if you've been here all week already, but if you go this year, we're running a Q&A on the stage using Better Questions, Q&A platform based by EY to allow you to put forward-thinking questions. So to get familiar with this platform, if you want to take your phone out now and go to the festival app, and from there go to festival program, and on the session you'll be attending on your schedule, you can go to a hyperlink and then type your questions. And if you like any of the questions, give it a thumb up. And for this session in particular, we're also going to have a poll. So if you go next to the Q&A, you're going to see a poll. So during the sessions, please use the poll and try to be part of it. If you want to go now to the app and see how it works, that would be amazing. So into the first session of the day, is brought us by Black Executive CMO Alliance. We're going to hear from some brilliant speakers, which we're really excited to hear. Without further ado, please give a warm welcome to Ukonwa Ojo, Global Chief Marketing Officer of Amazon Prime Video and Studios at Amazon, Kirk McDonald, CEO of Group M North America, Anton Vincent, President of T-Mars Wrigley North America, and Jerri DeVard, founder of Black Executives CMO Alliance.
All right. Well, good morning, and welcome. We are really excited to be here because today is a special day for the Black Executive CMO Alliance, and when you see this Black excellence before me, and hopefully at the end of the session you'll understand more about what we do as an organization and what all these amazing leaders do as individuals for their brands, their companies, and their organizations. So let me just show you. You saw the introduction, but I just wanted to give kind of a really quick intro to all of them personally. I've known Anton Vincent here, who is the president of Mars Wrigley North America, for a very, very long time. We were plebes starting out our careers.
No, I was the plebe.
Yeah, okay, right, yes, right. Well, starting out our careers in Minneapolis, you at General Mills and I at Pillsbury, and we've kind of kept in touch all this time, yes. And where you were one of the first people when the Black Executive CMO Alliance was starting that I called. So I'm glad that you're here, Anton.
Thank you very much, Jerri.
And Kirk McDonald, who is the CEO of Group M, who is never shy about speaking his mind, who speaks truth to power and always does it in a very compelling way. And as soon as I met Kirk, we were immediate friends, yes, because not only of his intellect, but his ability to straight no chase any issue. So we love having you in BECA, and I think the audience will benefit greatly from your wisdom. And then there is Ukonwa, resplendent in her beautiful yellow. And Ukonwa and I have known each other for a very long time. Again, when she was a pup coming up as a marketer. I'm showing you how old I am, right? Everybody was a pup. And we've just always stayed in touch through all of her amazing career journeys. And now as the global CMO of Amazon Prime Video. So I just have to have you give another round of welcome for all of them. And so, we are called the Black Executive CMO Alliance, but as you can see from the audience, from our panelists, we are made up of presidents, CEOs, and CMOs, and COOs. And so CMO was a way to ground what the organization is focused on. These are all people that have had their career through marketing and have ascended to great organizations. And so one of the things that I wanted to do was share with you what our mission was. We came together, we formed in March of 2021. We wanted to create a trusted, safe space for us to come together to do four things: to share, to learn, to elevate, and to pay it. Share, learn, elevate, and pay it forward. Four things. And of all of those things that we do and share and learn from each other, the pay it forward piece was very important. And what I want to do is I want to share a video with you now that talks about something that we created in partnership with Deloitte Consulting called the BECA Playbook. which is a 2-year program that's grounded in the leadership of the membership, but also external forces that come in and really help shape this next generation. So let me show you this video.
Our BECA members know marketers deliver powerful messages that change lives. Now, it's time to change the lives of young Black marketers with the bold playbook for making sure our voices are amplified. That's why we founded BECA, to tap the power of 26 amazing minds who saw a better, more inclusive future for business. In no time, our family grew to 33. Our members and their mission inspiring the media, headhunters, corporate heads, employees, and CEOs to lean in. Now, BECA is giving back, paying it forward with the full circle mentorship experience that kicks down the door for the next generation and makes certain that tomorrow's C-suite brims with the bright Black voices we're yet to hear. BECA, paying it forward.
All right, so that paying it forward piece is very important. I'd like to just thank Trevor Guthrie from Giant Spoon for helping us with this video. And we have our 8 future leaders, if they're here. Can you just quickly stand up or raise your hand? Because this is what it's about. And they've come as a result of a partnership with Essential for us to exchange, the ideas of what happens here and what they can learn from. So, but before we start, I'm going to kick it off with a poll. She mentioned that you were going to do a poll. We have a quick question. And here is the question. Where is my company on the DE&I journey of representation? Now, when you ask this, it's just getting started, making progress, best in class, don't know. It's not where you think you ought to be, where you should be, but where are you now? So I'm going to give you 20 seconds to answer that poll, and then we're going to see the results. You go to the app, go to this session, go to the hyperlink, and then you can vote, okay? All right, so we have the audience up. Okay.
Real consumer information.
I know, real time.
Real time.
I like the way that just getting started is going back and forth.
No.
And I don't know. We love the honesty of I don't know.
Yeah.
We love the honesty of I don't know, making great progress. Okay, it's like
progress.
neck and neck. This is like a horse race. Okay, so we're going to land it here. So the overwhelming majority of you, 52%, okay. Okay, so 2 more seconds and we're going to close this poll down. But just getting started is kind of taking over, making great progress. All right, let's leave it here. So it seems like about half are making great progress, just getting started, and the rest don't know. So when you think about that, this is the beauty of what this panel is going to talk about. Because all of them in their roles have had to represent not only themselves and what it is they do, but how do you help advance the cause of representation, D&I, and something that we've been doing for a long time before there was even a name. And what these 3 individuals are representing is all the faces that you see behind us, because those are the members of the Black Executive CMO Alliance. And here we are on the main stage in Cannes, so let's kick it off. And what I want to do is, before we get to representation, everyone asks us at the Black Executive CMO Alliance, why is it Black, why is it Executive, why is it CMO? And when you think about what it is we do, Ukonwa, if you were to describe to someone what BECA is for you and how you contribute, how would you answer that?
BECA is community, first and foremost. It's hard to be a CMO. It's even harder to be a Black CMO. It can be quite lonely. And so it's really helpful to have a community of people across different industries who are walking the same journey as you or have walked the same journey as you. The second is the opportunity. A lot of us, even though we may be the first or the only, we do not want to be the last. And what I love about Jerri, what you have started via BECA, is giving us the community and the tools to ensure that we are not the last. And so working with the playbook and creating a pipeline behind you, and not just, and what I love about this community is it's not just at your company. Whatever you're doing at your company, you multiply that by 26 or 30. We keep growing, which is a great thing, by the way. That means more Black CMOs. And you get to multiply that across different companies, and that changes the face of future CMOs. And that for me is incredibly exciting and fulfilling.
And so, Kirk, when you talk about your membership into the Black Executive CMO Alliance, what is it that you talk about first and foremost?
It's our contribution, right? So what I enjoy most is, as Ukonwa just said, this network this collective is also an active caucus that is contributing back into the community. We're determined to keep our foot on the door so the door doesn't slam back shut behind us. We are determined to make sure that diversity and inclusion are not things that are bolted onto the businesses that we participate in, but are actually built into the organization in a way that it cannot be shut down, or we can never say that it ends. It's why, when we think about this diversity journey for companies, we're still just getting started. We'll know when we've made real progress. When you can't distinguish it from the rest of the organization, you still can. We are still a single distinguished stage that looks uniquely different than every other stage, even here in Lions right now. And that's not progress. That's the beginning of the journey. So that's what I think our contributions have to be.
And Anton?
Yeah, well, first of all, let me just sort of say this. I just want to give a big shout out to Jerri.
Yes, please.
Jerri is just, Jerri is a force. Jerri probably has the best convening power in the world because when Jerri calls, there's only one answer, and that answer is yes, and how much. Right? But Jerri is, outside of her just being, just an incredible stalwart at what she does and what she represents. She cares and she understands what our mission is and what we're being asked to do, and she conveys that power to some very powerful people that you see on the stage. I think when I think about BECA, I think about one thing, one concept. It's excellence at scale in the Black community. And for us to be able to bring that excellence at scale and then to multiply that back for our pipeline that we're building, it is unique, it is powerful, and it is unduplicated in how we've been able to bring this amount of power and excellence together are behind one purpose. And that's what I think about, and I think our ability to understand one another, because you know how it is. We all know each other. That's one thing. Now, knowing each other and now putting that connection to use is something different. That's what we're able to do at BECA. Preach.
Well said, well said. So you mentioned excellence, and this is a question, so what's Black about it?
Yeah.
Anton, what's the overall impact of Blackness on culture creation and disruption?
Well, here's what I say. Look, the Black community has been at the nexus of fashion, entertainment, the next thing for so long. I think what we're able to do now is to codify that and to make sure we put all that excellence against our brands, our businesses. That's number one. Number two, at the end of the day, we're all accountable for moving our business forward, right? It's fine being Black, it's fine being powerful, it's fine being excellent. But if it doesn't work, it doesn't make a difference. Right, and so I think we have to sort of coalesce all of this and making sure that we're having power for ourselves and our community and building a pipeline, and then adding that unique value to all of our shareholders that we're accountable for and the consumers that we're trying to push forward in a global context.
I love that, because what we represent is you're Black, you're a leader, and you have a global brand that you have to manage. And so, Ukonwa, I'm going to come to you. When you think about what's next for global brands looking to grow their business by reaching diverse audiences, what do you think about?
Yeah, I just don't think it's possible to do that without diversity, because the reality is you look at the community that you serve, and it's an imperative that the folks who are making the decisions and are driving the strategies for the future reflect that community. And like you said, and like Anton said, it's critical for business. So if I take my business of entertainment, and I remember last year when we launched Coming to America, Nielsen tracks ratings in the streaming industry, and they track it by minutes. And so it's actually hard for a movie to rank number one, because series, you just have a lot of minutes. Like you binge a series, right? So you have to have a lot of people watching something for it to actually rate high on the Nielsen ratings. When we launched Coming to America, which was a very Black movie that was advocated by the Black community, it not only ranked number one, but it was the only movie since Nielsen had started ranking in streaming to rank number one for 2 weeks in a row. Like that is the impact that Black culture has. Like that's the impact that the Black community has. So you think about like the investments that you're making as a business, it's not just the right thing to do. It's a business imperative for us to not only reflect the communities that we need to attract, but how influential that community is to the rest of the world and to the rest of the country. And so I don't see how you succeed in business without doing this well.
Right, and to some degree, great entertainment is great entertainment.
Right.
But when you can dial down into the nexus of why it's important and what relates, it does start someplace, sometimes potentially in a black space, but it can widen if it's just great entertainment. And when I think about you, Kirk, and I'm going to ask you how many billions of dollars Group M actually is, because it's a mind-blowing number. It's a mind-blowing number.
It's a lot.
But Kirk, in that, I do want you to give that number, but also, how do you influence your clients in this space? Because your voice and your thought leadership is really critical.
So we represent, around $54 billion globally of advertising dollars. And we think of it investment dollars, not expenses. Properly invested, it can actually help you move more products off shelves, help you associate your brand in particular cultural moments, help you drive a bunch of things for good. So we've wrapped around it these 5 principles of responsible investment, which wonderful client partners like Mars and Amazon and others participate in. One of those is focused on sustainability. One focused clearly on responsible media, responsible journalism, focused on brand safety, focused on data ethics. We think it's a really interesting time around how data is being used, so not because you have it, you should. And one around diversity, inclusion, and equity, with this prioritization on inclusion. If you create inclusive environments, if your brand is inclusive, it invites more diverse perspectives and balanced perspectives. And we have intentional commitments in that area to make sure that we don't just speak to diverse audience, but diverse voices and creators. To tap into something Anton said and then Ukonwa followed with, because Black culture has been right at the nexus of music and arts and creativity, it has also, without getting credit, been right at the nexus of product innovation, and then therefore right at the nexus and innovation of business innovation, but not getting credit for it. This is the time to do that. That's what it means to get this right and to actually make progress in the moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so Anton, I'm thinking about you and the character changes you guys just made with the M&M characters and how that just caused a stir.
So cool.
And I loved it when Ukonwa was talking about coming to America. I wanted you to tell us a little bit of behind the scenes around that and the insight, but it's also leading to what's the one thing that companies that are serious about representation need to do now and in the future to affect change?
Yeah, I'll give you sort of a brief on the story. One of the things, certainly when I got there, we knew we had a great brand at M&M's. We were celebrating our 80th birthday. And so, look, it is still the test of time. But when we start talking about what does it look like, what does it feel like going forward, building into a global brand, we set a pretty aggressive goal. We wanted to double the size of M&M's in 10 years. Mm-hmm. I'm like, well, we better do something different. But one of the things we talked about is, and you guys know, look, brands have a lot of dimensions. And one of the dimensions and one of the brand assets of M&M's is those characters as individuals and those characters what I call as a crew, mm-hmm. right? And so, we focused on, M&M's is a brand that is it's about fun. There's a foundation to that, but it also has a point of view. Didn't think we were actually exercising that point of view like we could. And that point of view comes from a lot of dimensions. But if you look at how M&M's is constructed, it is almost multicultural by design. There's multiple colors, there's a lot of shapes, there's a lot of sizes, there's a lot of opportunities in terms of SKUs and things of that nature. And so how do we make that into a proposition? And that proposition is all about going from fun, still the base of the brand, to belonging, which is a bigger, broader, more inclusive idea. And then how do we sort of build programming and messaging around that? So that, yes, it's all about fun. We'll give you 1,000 ways to sort of engage that in the M&M's ecosystem, but it's also an inviting brand. And again, we talk about diversity. Diversity is not an American concept. You talk about globally, it starts to have very different dimensions and very different sort of platforms that we have to build a brand to be able to speak to advocate for, and to make sure we're providing product and product innovation. And so it's been fantastic. When we actually launched it in January, we had over 8 billion impressions in a 4
You guys are the
time
billion
period.
club.
We're in the billion club.
Ukonwa's in the billion club. We won't even go into Amazon. How much is the revenue of Amazon? Okay, but go on. Okay, so 8 billion.
8 billion, and so that's sort of the story. But we talk about what companies need to do. Look, first of all, your brands are very special. And in the day and age we live in now, those brands better have a point of view. Those point of views better be advocated in a way that's very consistent with the brand and then what the company represents. And I think we're unique because we're a privately owned company. We're 100% owned by a family, and that family has a value system. And that family wants to have a value system today and 100 years from today, right? And so how do you make sure that there is a broader understanding around how everything we do with that company, primarily led from our brands, from an outward-facing perspective, is consistent and driving that vision and those principles as well. So M&M's being the lead brand at Mars is a perfect opportunity, perfect platform to make sure that we're advocating not just for the brand, but for what we feel we're about and a purpose-driven company at Mars.
Mm-hmm. And so you all have the luxury of working for and working with brands that are well-known, household names. But there may be people sitting in the audience that are saying, okay, as I listen to what you represent and what BECA is, how can I help? How can I be an ally? So what is the one thing that you would suggest that if you're sitting out there and you want to be a part of this and helping with representation and helping with BECA, what would you suggest they do, Ukonwa?
I would say a couple things. I know you said one thing. A couple things. One, be very intentional about diversifying your teams. Like I said, it's a business imperative. You do need to do that to be successful, or else you will miss nuances that are really important, especially if you're a small company, you don't have money for research, then you do need people that have a seat at the table that inherently understand the customer. And then the second is, if you are present in a room with a person who's different from you, make them feel comfortable. Allow them to have a voice. And if they don't have a voice, make sure that you pull that voice from them so that you can actually get the value of the diversity. There's no point of having a room of people who look different, but the ideas are not different, and the voices are not different, and the innovation's not different. So if they're gonna be different, let them be different. And so giving them the space and the room to be different and to bring that difference to how you run your business and to the ideas that help fuel innovation for the company, those would be the couple of things that I would say are critical.
Mm-hmm. Great. Kirk?
I try not to.
Can't follow Ukonwa.
You don't follow Ukonwa. I will add a variant on something that she said. When you're in a room and you pay attention to when you're in the room. This is the intentionality she spoke to. When you're in a room and there isn't diversity in the room, ask yourself and the participants in the room with you why. Whether that's gender diversity or ethnic diversity. But you then have to question, do you have enough diverse perspective in the room to be able to be as effective as you could be? So there's a flip side to that as well. Not only make diverse people feel included, but when you don't see it, just ask yourself why. Is there a good reason why everyone in this room looks alike, is from the same background, thinks alike, and can we really be effective if that's the case?
So let me ask you, Kirk, when the room doesn't look the way it should, what should someone do or say?
Leave the room. That room's failing. You have to acknowledge that's what's happening in your business. I told this story before. A few years ago, someone challenged me to say, Kirk, you're such an advocate for women leadership, but I saw you on this panel. I saw your build for this panel. They're using you to promote the event, and your whole panel are men. And I was embarrassed because I hadn't paid attention. It was a miss. And I made it clear to my PR team, I'll never sit on a panel that does not include diverse gender. But then I realized that that's really what it means. You have to pursue diversity. You have to pursue another perspective for you to be successful in whatever you do. And today, if business isn't realizing that your next 10 years looks different than your last 10 years, then shame on you. And if you recognize the next 10 look different, as Anton said, how are you going to get there in 10 years' time? You can't do the stuff you've been doing. And what I know is the last room that we left didn't look that diverse. Why don't we try this out? We've been trying it, and it's been proving to be quite rewarding at our companies. So, that's the intentionality Ukonwa spoke to. That's why I said I can't improve on it, just giving a variant on it. If you look in the room and the room looks all like you, is there a good reason for that?
And there never is there?
There never is.
All right. So, Anton, you, with the BECA playbook, you sponsored one of your team members to participate.
I did.
But tell me the other things that you are doing to pave the way for young black marketers to follow in your footsteps who want to be Anton.
Yeah, it's a very good question. I think the first thing, I'll just tell the story. I think I had the best parents in the world, because one of the things my parents did was they set a high bar. And they were like, hey, look, whatever you do in life, you better be good at it. And so what I always start at is the best thing you can do is to be excellent at what you do, right? That's number one. I think those are table stakes these days. And so what I try to do is to make sure that we have a very good understanding of that. And so I think the first thing I try to do is to be excellent at what I do. The second thing I try to do is to share whatever insight that I have, whether that's personal insight, being involved with things like BECA or what have you. And I think the next thing is really trying to make sure I spend as much one-on-one time with individuals. For instance, and Jerri knows this organization was just at the Marketing Academy last week, closing out the 22 cohort. Happened to have been two folks in that cohort that Ukonwa and I used to work with back at General Mills, and so for me, it's making sure that we have multi-generational conversations, multi-generational connections. And I think the third thing is really just making sure that we put pressure, the right kind of pressure on our organizations. Power without impact is nothing. So if you have the opportunity and the blessing to have power at the table, whatever euphemism you want to use, you actually need to put it in action. And so I think I've been fortunate to be at companies that have invited that, and I've walked through that door boldly, I think in the right way, hopefully in an effective way, to make sure that the system is changing, in addition to the personal things that we all do every day, taking phone calls, emails, making ourselves available to people as well. So I think the personal side, and then making sure that you're active, excellent at what you do, and using your power for good is how I try to do it.
I love it. I love it. And so go on.
I just really wanted to build on something. I literally would not be here without Anton. When I started my career in marketing, I was at General Mills. Anton was a senior executive at General Mills. I was at General Mills when he was president. And just being a marketer that was starting their career in a place where you had a president that was black, and not just black, but like vivacious and energetic, which I was.
Vivacious, I like that.
And my
wife's in the audience.
I'm vivacious and smart and intelligent and articulate and like all these things. And you're like, wow, like I can be that. And he was so generous of his time to give of that. And like when you just realize, yes, we're BECA members, but also when I first became an executive, I went to a conference and Jerri talked about us knowing each other for a long time. Jerri spoke at that conference, and I remember going, oh my God, this woman is amazing. And I walked up to her, and I literally was like, will you please mentor me? And she said yes, and she started to mentor me. And so just giving you a real example of what it looks like and the impact that BECA can have, like I literally would not be here without both of them. And then now you have the opportunity.
Thank you for that, Ukonwa, because we call ourselves a family,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
We call ourselves a family, and we act like a family. And our new family that's here, our future leaders, they've done 3 panels since they've been here, which is just amazing. Because I always say I had to be an old fart at Verizon to get to Cannes, but they've been here. So they've done 3 panels. I'm going to ask each of you, just count in your head, how many panels have each of you done while you were here in spreading the word about your organization and BECA and all the great work in representing Black excellence? So Anton, how many have you done?
I think this is my 3rd or 4th panel.
Third or fourth panel.
I got one more to go.
You got one more. Okay. Kirk?
5.
5. Okay. Ukonwa?
3, 1 more to go.
Oh, 3, 1 more to go. Okay, great. All right. I'm going to open it up for 1 or 2 quick questions. I see a hand up. I see from Gail Peterson, our EVP and Chief Marketing Officer from Ecolab. And I was just handed an iPad, but I'm not sure. Okay.
I'm not using it. I'm just going to talk real loud. No, you guys talked a lot about what you are doing for other people for your business. I think what could be helpful for everybody to hear is what do you need to continue to grow and sustain, and how can we help you do that?
Okay. And can I bucket that with, and can you answer it in the way that is real, honest, and authentically you?
Yeah, well, we all do that. So
right, I know. Right.
That comes with it. Yeah,
it comes with it. I guess I'll try to fashion the answer first. I think the thing for me, and I think I speak for everybody, is like, look, we're still excited about our careers. Like, this is not it. Like, we're trying to kill it every day. Trust me. right? Because that's required at these levels. I think secondly is because I think in order to be energetic and current in this field, you got to be in it, you got to be on it, and you got to be, at least trying to kill it every day. So I think for me, it's just making sure that I have good energy, make sure I have good support. I think the older I get, I just really value feedback, like unfair feedback. Back to what Jerri said, is like being real, but really being almost unadulterated in a sense. And I think what I try to do with my leadership is to create the kind of environment where people can really do great things. Because at this point, it's really not all about us. It's about the environment we create. That's right. Right? It really is about the environment we create. So I think for me, it's making sure that I'm true to that, that I continue to make sure that I have the ability to pass that on, to set that kind of atmosphere, and get the great creativity and excellence that I know exists in all of our organizations from as broad a group of people as possible.
And Kirk, I'm going to ask you one of the questions here. How do you reach diverse talent?
Oh my God. I think you need to create inclusive environments, and diverse talent finds you. That's how companies are going to win right now. There's too much choice available for anyone in the job market today. That's why we've had a global talent crisis. Guess what? That simply means that the social contract between employee and employer has shifted in a direction where the power has shifted to those who are being hired. They're only going to work for you if they like your purpose, they like your commitment, and the environment is inclusive. Those leaders are going to win that are inclusive managers, and those companies that are inclusive environments will exceed. They will win. And that's why, if that's not your environment, you're going out of business. It's just no one's told you yet, and I'm being kind enough to let you know.
Okay, I love it. And our last question, we're not going to be able to get to all of them, and I'm going to ask you this, Ukonwa. Do you have any advice for minority Gen Z future marketers? What would you tell yourself?
Yeah.
You're young.
I knew Ukonwa would win, so I'll be interested to hear this.
It was, it's so funny. It was a very small thing that led to a really big thing. I remember sitting and watching the Oscars, and Viola Davis was at the Oscars in her natural hair, and it was short. And I was like, she wore her natural hair to the Oscars. This was years ago, before natural hair became a thing. Yeah. And I was like, if she can wear it to the Oscars, why can't I wear it to work? And I literally did the big chop, colored it. It looked just like hers. And it was such a small thing, but it literally changed the course of my career. Because it was in that moment that I realized that I was going to show up as I was created. And with the belief that everything that is good and different that you bring is locked into who you actually are. And so the moment when you feel that freedom to be who you were created to be, all your gifts, all your talents, all your capabilities, like they all come out of that. And so it was like a very tiny, tiny, tiny thing, but it led to more decisions about showing up exactly how I was created and believing that that was perfect and that everything I had to bring was within that. And my company happened to benefit from that. And the brands I was on happened to benefit from that. Because I was like, if I'm going to be different in this room, I'm going to be different. And so once you lean into that, you become a better marketer, because now you have a voice for every other person in the world that has that perspective, that comes from that culture, that looks like you, sounds like you, and you really bring something different to the company and you unlock a new world for them. And so yes, my advice to future Gen Z marketers, like show up as who you were created to be and give them you. Like that's the benefit. Like that's the difference that you bring. Does that make sense?
Oh, that's great. What a great way. Give them you. Thank you, Ukonwa. Thank you, Kirk. Thank you, Anton. Thank you very much. Thank you for attending. All right.
Pretty good.
Nice.
A big round of applause for our speakers, please, again. You can let us know your thoughts on the content via the Cannes Lion app and the year, so log in and head out to the sessions on the app program and let us know what you think. Let's have a short break, coffee, stretching. I'm excited to let you know that at the Lumiere Theater has opened earlier this morning. You will find Netflix taking the stage just now, and a session from Mindscapes is about to start in the terrace stage. So if you'd like to network, head towards Meetup Space on the Palace 2. Christine Pyle, Chief Equity Officer of Dentsu America, is about to kick off her networking session there. We'll be back here at the forum at the stage at 12 p.m. with a powerful and very insightful session from the economy. See you soon.